We're going to tie a Hammer Creek PSV, but we're going to tie this in a rubber leg variety. For those of you who didn't see the original, PSV is a pink squirrel variation, very popular pattern here in the Midwest. So I'm starting off with a size 14 nymph hook in the vise, and I've got a 3/32 tungsten bead. I'm going to add some additional weight to it, so I'm just going to take maybe 8 to 10 wraps or so of lead, and then break that off and just push everything into the bead head. The thread that I'm going to use is a tan 8/0, and I use tan because it matches the body color pretty well, and as this fly gets bead up, some of that dubbing might come free, and I want the thread to match the color of the body to camouflage it as much as possible. So the tail section, instead of using Crystal Flash as with the original, we're going to use extra fine rubber legs. And so I'm just going to take off one strand, and I'm going to use a white for my tail. And so I'll just take that off, and now what I'm going to do is just bend this around the thread, and I'll just set it right on top. Now when I come through with my wraps, I'll pull that material tight, and you can see I can place that wherever I want it to go. Now with the tail, I want it to be about the length of the hook shank, so I'm just going to bend that over to the front and then make my cut, and that'll give me the length that I'm looking for. So now the rib that I'm going to use is just a fine gold wire, and so I'm just going to tie that in at this point behind the lead all the way down to the tail, and then I'll bring that back up to about center. So the dubbing for this is the same dubbing at Golden Stone, and I'm just going to take a pinch of that off, and I'm going to start to put that on my thread here. And then just start to make my taper. And I might take one more thin pinch here just to smooth out any of those high spots. Alright, and now that I'm happy with that kind of cigar shape, I'll come back through with my wire and just put this rib in. Nice even wraps, and I always like to end my wrap where the thorax is going to start. I don't know that it's important, but aesthetically for me, I like the look of it. Alright, and the thorax is going to be about the width of a bead, and I like to use the kind of a rusty orange dubbing for this, so I'm just going to take a small pinch to start, and I'm going to put in just a little collar, not all the way up to the bead head, because now I'm going to add in my legs, and I'm going to use an orange extra fine round rubber leg for each side. So I'll just do the same process. I'll take it over my thread, attach it, maybe take a wrap in between, and do the same thing over, place it, wrap in between, and they're not going anywhere, so now I'll just come through, bring everything up to the front, and just kind of get a rough idea of how I want the legs to look. Now I'll come back through and finish off the dubbing, so I'll take another pinch of that rusty orange, and I'll just finish up with a good pinch here. Alright, so I'll take a couple wraps in between the legs, and I'll pull everything back and finish it off just behind that bead, and then I can put in a whip finish or two. And I can put in a whip finisher too to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then you can play and reposition with the legs to get them to look just how you want. And that is the rubber leg PSV.